Hello everybody, Infinite Shinjo here. Welcome to Let's Talk Anime episode 59, and in today's video I have 3 requests given from you guys. I watched you guys' requests and I'm going to discuss them. And in today's start, we have the Asterisk War. And this one, I have a little bit of a backstory with this one, because somebody posted a meme on my Discord and Julius was one of the pictures there. I didn't know where she was from. I love characters with pink hair. And I don't know if that was in response to me asking about that I'm discussing this now. It's just a fun little tidbit. So, what do I like about Asterisk War? What I do like to start is, it's definitely a very interesting world. That much is for certain. And to be quite honest, I do like a lot of the character designs. Now, some of them, I do admit, do look super generic, but just Julius, Saya, and Claudia, because those were really the only characters I met that I really like the designs of. I really like theirs, but Claudia's personality is just so really fun, in my opinion. Although there is going to be something that I'm going to discuss later that kind of contradicts that, but I just like the character designs. To be quite honest, Ayato does look kind of generic, but the other ones just look much better by comparison. The other thing that I like, and this is just a minor thing on my part, the end of episode 3, when it goes from the episode into the ending song, I just like the transition of Ayato jumping from the building, falling, and then it just transitions into the ending song. I don't know what it is about that, I just really like that touch. As for the things that I didn't like about it, first of all, the plot points are super obvious. I could have easily predicted that Ayato would have a high compatibility with Serveresta, because of course he would, why wouldn't he? The only other thing that I wrote down that I didn't like, and it jumps back to what I mentioned earlier, the romance subplot is a bit much sometimes. Like, I get at the same time, this probably does have a harem tag on it as well, but I do get between the 3 girls, Claudia, Saya, and Julius, that Claudia is definitely the older sister, One-san type of character, Saya is a childhood friend, and Julius is probably the one that wins because she always does, but that's just typically how it goes with a lot of harem, at least from what I've heard. No experience whatsoever, of course, but just all of this stuff with the romance subplot does kind of take away from the story, in my opinion. Like, it's not a bad thing to incorporate a romance subplot into something, not necessarily. But just the fact that it's just so super obvious on, oh, this happened to happen. Like, oops, Ayato saved Julius from this attack. Oh, but would you look at that? He's grabbing her chest. What are the odds? It's just one of those things that's one of those generic things that I do not like. But overall, it's not a terrible show. To be quite honest, it must be good because as far as I know, it definitely got a season 2. But next is, what's this called again? Knights and Magic. Yeah, that's right. I definitely didn't cut the video to fit the poster better on the layout. Professional YouTuber right here. But Knights and Magic, I do vaguely remember watching this a long time ago. I don't know why I did, but I did. And just like the last one, actually, to balance out with the last one, the character designs in this show aren't anything too wild. Like, they're just kind of simplistic. I do like how simplistic they are. And as well, the combat is really cool. It's definitely unique, although I'll get to that part later. But just the characters in general, it just boils down to a lot of them are a mixed bag. Some of them I really like, some of them I don't like. It's just certain points of the day. Like the girl, which I believe is named, well, one of them's Kid and one of them is something else. The 2 twins or whatever. The one is just fawning all over her nesty for some reason. There are some points I find that endearing, but there are some points that I just don't care at all. The best thing that I can easily say about this show, and I don't think this is going to be a contest, the fact that the OP is sung by Fauna. And if you're not familiar with Fauna, they sing all of the OPs for Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, the first and the second one. Anna definitely has a unique voice that as soon as it came on, I knew that's who it was. The song is really good, but unfortunately that's probably the best thing that I can say about the show. The things that I didn't like is the pacing is a bit quick at times, because it just goes from Ernesti as a kid to meeting robots and just growing up essentially. And it just felt a bit too quick in my opinion. I would have liked to see a little bit more time developing that, but that's just a personal take on my opinion. And it's weird because in some cases the show is unique, but there are some points it just feels kind of empty. Like in a way it's kind of generic, even though it has giant robots in it, which is definitely a new one for isekai, but it just feels kind of empty. I don't know how to explain it. I can't put my finger on what I think is missing, but it just feels kind of empty. Almost like they just figured, well, we have to have a new isekai, let's just have this person be reincarnated and there are robots there and there's magic. It just feels kind of haphazard in my opinion. And another nitpick on me, this is just a very, very, very minor thing. Ernesti could have just been in the fantasy setting from the beginning. There's no need at all for it to be an isekai. It just, out of all the isekais that have ever happened, this one probably is one that I would confidently say doesn't need to be an isekai. Like, I get it builds up Ernesti as being an otaku in his past life, collecting all these robots, so it makes sense that Ernesti will be infatuated with these robots, but it could have just been one of those things where the robot saves Ernesti back in the day, and Ernesti just falls in love with robots at that point. You didn't need to include the isekai thing, especially with a lot of people being burnt out by isekais recently. It just felt like it wasn't needed. But we are wrapping up today's video with Pokémon Reburst Volume 1, live YouTuber moving the picture over. Yeah, Pokémon Reburst Volume 1. I'm only discussing Volume 1 because I didn't want to read Volume 2. Not that it was bad or anything, but I just didn't feel a need to because I felt pretty confident on the story at that point. So, Pokémon Reburst. What is it about? Well, for the very few people that probably don't know what this is about, it's about our main character, Ryuga, who is trying to find his father after an incident, and yeah, let's just say some stuff happens. Obviously, I've only read the first volume, so I can only go off of what happens in the first volume, but the things I like about it is Ryuga is just a really relatable protagonist. In my opinion, it feels like a kind of inspiration from Black and White 2, because Hugh tries to find his sister's purloin, much like Ryuga tries to find his dad. And at the same time, it does give me vibes of Yuma Tsukumo from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal because of that finding your father plotline. But at the same time, he's not as clumsy and dim-witted as Yuma is. So that's already a plus in my opinion. Now, the only things I'm not confident about, and this is just only because I haven't read enough of it, what exactly is Arcades? It seems like it's a deity of some kind, but I'm not sure about that. And the last thing that I need to note, because the only other thing that I can mention is the obvious fusion, because Ryuga fuses with a Zekrom, which is on the thumbnail of this video. But I cannot think of Pokemon Reburst without thinking of all of this speculation that happened before Sun and Moon. Before Sun and Moon actually came out, people saw the logo and saw the Z Crystal, and they thought that it would be a way that you could fuse with your Pokemon, much like Pokemon Reburst does, especially after Ash Greninja came out recently. But it didn't happen, and I just can't think of this manga now without thinking about the speculation leading up to Pokemon Sun and Moon. Which isn't necessarily bad, but it just shows how much time I spend on the internet. Overall, Reburst was definitely really good. Honestly, if I get time, I might read more of it. I'm just excited to see where it goes. But that is the end of this episode of Let's Talk Anime. If you enjoyed, hit that like button down below, leave any suggestions that you have down in the comment section, and I'll see you next time. Momentai!